Hello, and welcome to the Amplify Your Confidence podcast. My name is Me, written as NY at www.dancewithme.com. This is a weekly podcast where I create fun, energetic, and informative conversation that helps you to amplify your confidence and live your life to the fullest. Are you ready for it? Let's go! Hello everyone. Welcome back to the Amplify Your Confidence podcast. This is episode 5, how to quit a soul draining job and start your dream business and live life on your own terms with our amazing guest speaker today, Milena Nguyen. Welcome, Milena.
I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So before we jump in our conversation, I would love to introduce you today with our guest speaker. So let's see who is Milena Nguyen. And on a side note, Milena is the first Vietnamese guest speaker on my podcast. So I'm super, happy and also proud as well. So Milena is a published author, 3-time TEDx speaker, purpose and business coach. Milena mission is to help purpose-driven human reinvent their work, launch a thriving coaching business, and build an impactful personal brand. She does that through her content, courses, and coaching program. Milena has coached individuals from more than 15 countries all over the world. Her online courses have reached more than 5,000 students. Milena books, blogs, social media channels have inspired a global following of more than 40,000 readers all over the world. Oh my God, what an impressive career, Milena. And more than that, Milena is my coach. She coached me a little bit more than 2 years ago. Can you believe already more than 2 years ago
Really? Yeah.
in April 2020. So needless to say how impactful she is in my life. And because of this reason, I guess this episode even more special and I cannot wait to start it, Milena. Welcome again to the Amplify Your Confidence podcast.
I'm so happy to be here.
So, you feeling good?
Yes. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm in the right
Okay.
place, having the right conversation with the right people and speaking to the right audience. So very excited.
So, before we jump into our topic today, let the audience know a little bit more about you to a very fun game. I call it Hot Seat. So, within these 5 minutes, I have 5 questions for you. It's super random. And what I would like you to do is that whatever comes first in your mind, please let us know your answer. Are you ready?
Wow. Sounds fun.
Yeah? Okay. So, what confidence means to you in 3 words or just one sentence?
Mm, what confidence means to me, I'm just gonna do the 3 words. Like what the 3 words that comes up for me is confident is authentic, um, being aligned to your true nature, your essence, and shining your authentic light.
Okay. This is also your tagline on your website as well. Shine your light.
Mhm.
Yeah. Uh, what makes you happy the most right at this moment?
Is that I get to talk about what I'm super passionate about. Because I deeply believe that we each are born with a unique gift, a mission, and I call that your light. And we are all meant to shine. That's what we're meant to do in this lifetime. And I love having conversation around how we can do that.
Wow, I love this answer. The third question is, what are things you used to value but not anymore?
Hmm. I used to value, and this is a very good question, by the way. I used to value working a lot. I think in the past I had a tendency to overwork and burn out. And that was something that I values, not because that was my authentic values, no, but because it was how society taught me to earn worthiness. So
Mm,
I used to believe that I am only worthy when I succeed, and I am only worthy when I am always productive. So, but of course that wasn't something that could be sustainable. So it lead to burnout and everything. But now I no longer values that. And instead of that, I values being in alignment with your what you love and what you care deeply about. Mhm. So no
beautiful.
more hustling and more alignment.
Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah, this is one of the questions that I really, really like as well. Uh, uh, okay, number four. What is your go-to affirmation when you don't feel good about yourself?
I have many. I've built it over the year because I don't feel
I
good that often.
know.
I'm not one of, I'm not wired to be always, I don't know, like, running through the meadows and being happy all the time. I am a very sensitive soul with complex emotions. And so when I feel a difficult emotion, doesn't mean that it's bad. It just, it's
Mm,
part of being human. One of the mantra I like is that I allow myself to be human. And this is part of the human
mm.
experience, and it is okay. It's okay to feel this way, like right now. And I would allow myself to feel it and allow it to pass through me.
Oh my god, I have chill. I gonna take a note. This is super cool. The conversation already very nice. Even we didn't deep dig yet in the topic, so I'm excited for the next part. Okay, so the last question is, what is the best compliment that you ever received?
Mm, the best compliment that I've ever received. What comes up to me right now is when people tell me that I am speaking truth. Now, it doesn't mean that I lie, but I feel like we all have a voice and we have something that we deeply believe in. However, many of us are afraid to speak up, like the thing that we truly believe in our opinion, because it might be very different from what society like, right? Like, and
Mm,
I am someone who somehow always have chosen an unconventional path. Like I got a divorce when I was 29 years old. Like I say no to corporate job in order to become a yoga teacher when I was 24 years old. So I've been always pursuing sort of unconventional path because inside me there is an inner wisdom, an inner voice that I have trained myself to connect with. And so and now of course as now I have my work, and part of my work is about advocating for my message, and sometimes the message is very controversial. Like the other day I was talking about, actually just a few days ago, I make a post on Instagram that say stop manipulating the universe to get what you want, because I saw this trend of like become a manifestation, I don't know, unicorn, and then it all feels like, oh, you are manipulating the universe to get what you want. And that's a very big trend too, even in the business coaching space, which is the space I'm in. And I've been keeping this to myself. I was keeping this to myself for a long time because by nature I avoid confrontation. But then eventually I was like, okay, I'm going to talk about this because I feel like it's important. So, and then I talk about that, and a bunch of people like message me and okay, commenting and say, this is the truth. We feel the same, but we didn't dare to speak it. So yeah, those are the things that I really appreciate and treasure. And I think we need more truth speaker too, because we all have a voice. We have all have an inner wisdom, and that deserve to be heard.
definitely, and I always think we try to hold back what we really believe and desire to speak it up
Yeah.
on because we're afraid to being judged, all that kind of thing.
Hmm.
So this definitely yeah,
Yeah.
and a very good point to point out. And even we see it right now, definitely after that pandemic, I see a movement of change, not yeah, all over the world. inside
Yeah.
us, outside us. So even though these are being said and mentioned or talked way much more, but still, how people finally take action and dare to do it is still like
Mhm.
a lot of work we need to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really because
Yeah.
we have layers of fears, right? And I guess we are going to dive into more around like fear because our conversation, the topic is so relevant. But we all have layers of fear and oppressions that we internalize within. And part of the work is to bring understanding, consciousness, awareness in order to be able to either transform those fear and or do it afraid. Yeah.
So we are done with the 5 questions. I believe now the audience definitely knows a little bit more about you. And this time we're gonna move to and discuss the topic quitting a soul draining job and start your dream and living the life that you always desire for. I
Mhm.
cannot choose any better person to talk about this topic because, like you mentioned during our first part, you living the unconventional path compared to a lot of other people since such a young age, you know. So let's start.
Yeah.
I prepare a few questions and then we're gonna see how our conversation evolves. Yeah. Because we just mentioned the path that you have taken in your life, shall we share with the audience how it started, how it evolved, how it, yeah, how you become the person you are today? Both
Yeah.
personally and professionally, I guess, because I feel like when people talk about themselves, they only define the success on the part of being professional, you know, but they
Yeah.
forget. I don't think we ever can put it apart, personal and professionals, because that we become a whole. That's because of
Yeah.
that, you know. Yeah.
You're right. You're right. We cannot like compartmentalize our personal life and our professional
Yes.
life because it's just us. So this is a long story. I'm gonna try to make it short. But basically, I was on the hot track of um of having this, I say we call it the conventional success. Um, Now, I've never ever worked in corporate for my entire life, but I started out very early working for an NGO, so for organization. So I had a very long NGO career doing a partnership development. So managing like $500,000 portfolio and all those cool things and get to travel in many different countries to raise partnership for that really big NGO. And then there was a moment when I get to decide whether to continue climbing to the next stage, like become like a global VP, or to consider one of the job offer amongst the corporate partners that I actually brought in, and then they are now very interested in hiring me. And and that was 20. I was 24 at the time, and those are all great options. And I had people like peers were telling me like, okay, you need to apply, you need to stay and go to the next level. Or I have like other peer who say that, oh, you have so many good options for the corporate. Like my parents was also, waiting for me to make that like good move. But inside me, there was just something that didn't feel right. Like I knew that I needed to pause because even though on the outside I seems to have to check all the boxes, really great career, really great title, get to live in Europe and travel all around the world and everything. It just did not, there was something that didn't feel like something was missing. Like there's this deep existential angst. And I
Yeah.
know that the audience, whoever's listening, if you have felt this, it is there. There's this
Yeah.
existential angst that just would not go away, right? And maybe
Yeah.
we try to distract ourselves from it by different types of ways, like social media, shop, by having a relationships or whatever. But and being overworking is also one of the way we distract ourselves from that existential angst. But it is there and in the quiet moment of the night. or in the early morning when you are not running around, getting yourself busy and distracted, you feel it. So I was feeling that for like years, for 2 years, and I was actively denying that because I was on the hot track. I was supposed to keep going and be successful and everything. And I was just very terrified of losing that image of these successful, ambitious, successful women, right? Independent, successful, ambitious women. I was terrified of admitting that I was feeling very lost and I have existential angst. And I was like seriously so deep in that quarter life crisis, so deep. But at some point, you just cannot ignore it anymore because I knew that if I continue, I would end up seriously in even a worse state of depressions. I would categorize myself back then as like high functioning depressed. You know, I could show up, I could fulfill all my responsibility, but then after that, I would be crying at night to sleep. So, so I decided to stop, even though I did not know exactly what I was supposed to do. So I knew that I need to stop in order to make this space, in order to discover myself and just I know it sounds very corny, but the real word is like to find myself back. I needed to find myself back. So I took the time. I was thinking to take like a 3 month sabbatical, become a 6 month sabbatical. And at the end of that sabbatical, I have I knew that I wanted to do something that has to do with human development and helping other people. I was interested in helping other people. So then I became a yoga teacher. And my parent was like, "You what now?" Yoga. But I persisted. And I remember taking all my saving to rent a old space, like a second floor of an old building, renovating everything with my own hands because I didn't have a lot of money for renovation. Like literally, I was drilling walls and hang like giant ass uh like frame and artwork on the walls and everything. So and the opening of that yoga studio, so that was a yoga studio I wanted, and then decided to become a yoga teacher because yoga had helped me so much in during those months. So the opening of that yoga studio felt like one of the happiest day of my life. And then um it didn't happen according to like the conventional fairy tale. Again, 2 years after opening of that studio, I had to shut the business down. So that is a plot twist right there, because we were barely making any money. Like honestly, from when I shut it down on the outside, I told people that I shut it because I wanted location freedom, which was true, but it was not the real truth. Like the other reason for me to shut it down was because we were just barely getting by. We for 2 whole years, I pay myself $250 a month. $250 a month for 2 whole year after the rent, after paying the staff, after paying, the utility and everything like that. So my first experience to start your dream business and being an entrepreneur was a complete failure. So I shut it down. I felt so much shame, guilt. I had terrible guilt towards my business partner and my teachers and the staff who worked with me and my student. Then I doubted myself and I spiraled down into a depression. Um, and I somehow, with the support of my husband at the time, I came through that. And around the end, I was weighing my options. Should I go back to, if I put together a CV and send it out, I would probably be able to find a good job. But that felt like murdering of my soul. Like just think about that option, just feel like just murdering the soul. So I knew that I just have to press forward. I have to try the next time. I will start another business. And that was terrifying because you have just failed. But I decided to bet on myself. I started my coaching business that was in 2016, so 6 years ago. And now we're here like 6 years in, and I'm so grateful that I did not give up, that I didn't take that failure and just stop. And
Yeah.
I'm actually grateful that I fail because I learned so much in that first
Mm-hmm.
time that I now, and that helped me to become successful with my current coaching business. You know, we serve clients in over 15 countries. We are all multiple six-figure business. I have a team of 7 people, and I'm just so grateful. And that did not come overnight. Of course, we see so much of the overnight success, right? That came because I had dared to find a way to become successful by risking failure and actually fail and press on. Right? So
Yeah.
so that's where I am at. That's my journal. And personally, I think I've mentioned that I got it divorced. So yeah, a lot of personal thing happened. Of course, when we follow our dream, we need to also know that there are our life that is happening at the same time, right? So
Mm.
I went through my own death and rebirth process with my relationship. That was a 7 years relationship that I decided to transition out of, and we are no longer married, but we are really still good friend. And then I met my new life partner, and then I become a mom. So I have a baby who's almost 2 years old now. Oh my God, so
Yeah.
fast. Yeah, and I often say that I don't know if I have it all because I don't even know what having it all means, but I know that I am living it all right now. I have my life is
Yeah.
full and it's so rich, and sometimes it's like a bit crazy because you're a mom of a 2 years old, and you have your own business and you know being an entrepreneur and everything. But I'm just grateful that I say
Mm.
yes to things that really matters to me. Mm.
Amazing journey that you has gone through. Um, I have been following you for so long, and even with that coaching business, you has changed a lot of times as well.
Yeah.
So I, like you said, I also really like that. Yeah, what does that mean to have it all, but living full and feeling like you're living it all to what you values and what you love? Eh, I guess that the right direction, and it like a compass for you. Whenever you feel lost, you come back to that, and
Mm.
then you're gonna find a way. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So nice. So before we start to talking about like how to quit, what we can do before quitting the job, with some guidance that you, Milena, gonna give us, I have one more questions, because right now, as you know, like we read a lot of information. Like you said, people also overused the word universe. I also feel people also overuse the heart, the mind, and the soul word. Like,
Mhm.
oh, come back to your heart, come back to your soul. Don't let the mind make you crazy. So I just want you to give a very clear definition to the audience. Also, I believe everyone have their own definition,
Yeah.
but coming from you as a coach, that you have so many clients and already that you work with them on different paths. What does it mean for you with the words like the soul, the mind, and the heart?
Yes.
Because that's how our body composed and how as woman being
Yeah.
we, yeah.
I'm smiling because there's this little fly that keeps around my head.
No worries. That's how it is
It's
in
just
Southeast Asian, right?
perfect and my life real full and flies flying around my head. Is it? Okay, it's gone now. Go away. Um, so I'm going to answer that question by not answering the question because I think
Mm-hmm.
the reason why we're asking is that we are just really trying to discern how to
Mm-hmm.
navigate, right?
Mm.
We're really trying to discern what do we listen, who do we listen to, and what do we navigate. Like when our mind telling us something, and then maybe our emotion is giving us some other hint, and then so what do we do, right? And I think that having a rigid definitions about those things does not really help because then we are
Mm.
overanalyzing, and then we kind of like get stuck. So what I would love to provide as another distinction is that we can either make choices in our life from a place of ego based, or it is from a place of like soul, being soul inspired. So that is the distinction I'd love to give here. Like, is that ego based or is it soul inspired? And how do you know if that is ego based? It has a lot of things to do with fear, because that's in like fear is how ego operate. It's also it tend to be the minds too, because the mind will create lots of like limiting beliefs based on what we experienced in the past that try to protect us and then just try to make us afraid, right? So that is like ego based, and soul inspired is all about your curiosity, what spark joy in you, what feel expansive in your body, what what feels a bit thrilling, like, or a lot thrilling. And thrilling, I mean, like it makes you scared and excited. So that is like the soul inspired direction to take, right? So um I think just to give an example, right? It could be so let's say you when you were small and you grew up, you were someone who really excelled a lot in school. And whenever you bring an A or like grade 10, like in Vietnam, we use that like 10 grade system. Like you bring a 10 or a 9 home, your parents are like, good girl, right? And that, and but otherwise, they don't really attend to your emotional needs. Not because they are bad people, just because they do not have the capacity to support you with your emotional needs. Now, your mind will learn that, okay, in order for me to gain belonging and like loving attachment with my parents, be I need to be like a good student. And that equal I need to succeed, right? I need to earn the trophy. I need to go for the next award. I need to this in order to succeed. So that is a very ego-based and fear-based approach. Now, what that would lead to is that when we go and choose career, we be looking at career that would looks good, that sounds great, and the career that our parents will be like supporting, approve these. It sounds great. Instead of going towards the thing that that is sparking curiosity inside us, that we feel pulled towards, like kind of compelled emotionally in the heart. And that also might lead to, being in a job that you do not love, that is that the environment is not aligned with your values, that you dread going to work every day, you feel that this is a toxic environment, but because it is looking good, you come with really great title, maybe you're like an executive VP or whatever, leaders, and then but you still hold on to it because okay, without this title, who am I and how am I going to get belonging? How am I going to get love, right, from others? So so that is what we most of us have, right? And having that kind of fear, a tendency to follow the fear and the ego based is not wrong. Is you There's not something wrong with you. It's just something that we know that we can have the tendency, and if we want to live a life that is more vibrant and that make us feel alive, and that we wake up, we're excited for about our day and the work that we'll do, then there is a possibility of a different options, is to lean toward being more soul inspired. Does that help?
Yes, I love how you tweak the questions in this way and mention about the ego. Because definitely, if we really look in our path consciously, you can really see how many times actually you act out of your ego.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the decision of having the job, the decision of being in the place uh, where again it make maybe your ego like, oh, this will look good, but
Mm-hmm.
do you actually really feel good? Yeah, and I like that you uh, put the curiosity word in that, in the way how you feel like you, because I believe a curious mind on everything that you do actually gonna inspire you in many ways that you do as well. So if your mind feel bored of the thing that you do and not curious of how I can be better, how the thing um, make me evolve, make me learn, that that would be the important thing to look when you build up your career.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, so talking about that, I see that you mentioned a lot of like the fear and speaking. Definitely when you want to quit a job, especially the one that financial secured, the one that you actually fight for because you thought that was something for you, something that
Mm-hmm.
um, you meant to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. It's not like one day you wake up in the morning, it's the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I look back in my career, I wish the moment that I quit my job, I would know more. Like if back to that time, I would have more resource
Mm-hmm.
to learn better and prepare better. You
Yeah.
know, yeah. So right now we have you. We should
Mm-hmm.
please share with us some knowledge. Like if someone right now at this age uh want to quit their job and especially want to build their business because that's
Mm-hmm.
what you have people, right, to
Yeah.
quit their soul draining job and able to make the steps to build what they believe.
Mm-hmm.
So can you give the audience some guidance on that, what they can do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would first love want to talk about this two, there are two mindset or reframe the two way of thinking that make people
Mm,
stuck. So the first
mm,
one is to think that quitting your job is like taking a leap. I don't think it's just useful. Instead of thinking your job, quitting your job, it's like, okay, you wake up and then you're like, oh yeah, I'll prepare and then I'll take a leap and then I'll just see where I land. And then if I believe it will catch me, that is that is actually very anxiety inducing, right? Because it's
yeah.
scary. You believe you feel like you're going to fall into death. So instead of even using the word quitting, I know we use the word quitting in the topic because it's how most people think about it. Now I really think about transitioning.
Mm,
Instead of thinking like, okay, quitting your job and I'm taking this leap of faith and I'll fall and we'll see what happens. Think about an, a transitioning process from an environment that doesn't align with your values, the kind of work that is not aligned with your gift and your innate talents, and it's not aligned with the contribution that you make to the world, into the kind of role, the job, or the business, right? That is a lot more aligned with your values, your talent, and the contribution that you want to give to the world.
mm,
How can that transition look like? It might
yeah.
look like 2 years,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
And I've support so many clients who actually their process is like a 2 years process
Mm-hmm.
from because they have family to take care of, they have kids, so they
Mm,
cannot afford just to like flip the table. But
yeah.
that is also good, right? That 2 year process is also worth it because you are working towards something. You're taking small step and transitioning. And that is going to give you so much
Definitely.
more power over feeling really stuck because you're so scared of the table and doing that crazy jump.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that way how you put it because the word transitioning and also like transforming
Yeah.
is already give you an idea it's gonna take time.
Yes.
It's not like
It
you
is
jump
time.
boom into it.
Yes.
It's very
Yes.
beautiful to see that transformation of the people that you are at this moment and the people that you want to be.
Hmm.
And I wanted to share a little bit here because I took your coaching program 2 years ago, and at that moment, yeah, I see my values, I know what I want to be, and if I look back, it's the whole 2 years of transitioning, of transforming of the person who I were at that moment, of the person right now I want to be. And it's not like you taking a coaching program and after 3 months, you, boom, I'm transformed from to a butterfly like that. So
Yeah.
definitely it's even that moment you take a decision, hey, I want to change my job to build my business or to change to the job working with a company that support my values and my vision,
Mhm.
you move forward, you know, you seek out for it, and slowly you get where you want to be. And I also believe within that too, and more than 2 years in I took your coaching program, was I the were everything aligned with what I were talking to you? No, because I evolve
Yeah.
around that. But definitely the values that what I always stick to. But at that moment, I already like, oh, I want to build my business. And
Mhm.
after your coaching, up to remind like, oh, I gonna do it. Right now, I still haven't
Mhm.
lived 100% for my business, but I do have my own business, and at the same
What?
time I working full time as well, you know. So
Yes.
it the transformation, you don't feel like, oh, because I didn't get my totally my business, I'm again a failure.
Mhm. No,
Yeah.
no. Yes. You're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. And I would love to also share that each person have different pace as well, and it's so important to honor your
Yeah.
pace. If maybe for you, like I'm saying you, like I'm talking to the audience, like maybe for some of you in the audience, you are someone who just kind of like go for it and just create. And if
Mm-hmm.
that is you, then do that. By the way, that is like me. I'm one of people who can I can burn bridges. Like I can't that's just how I operate, right? But for so many of us, we need just a transitioning process. And if we pressure ourselves to make an immediate change, we actually waste more time. You see, because we are
Mm-hmm.
procrastinating, we are frozen because of that. It's like too much. And then our system just frozen. And then we are like, just maybe procrastinate for 2 years instead of
Mm-hmm.
starting small and then slowly transition. And then at the end of that 2 years or 3 years or whatever, you out. Like so many of my clients, like I have actually two of my clients, because I just want to share the story because I want to celebrate them because I think they are like incredible. Two of my clients are the transitioning out of their job like this month, right at the end of this month. And actually one of the client is transitioning out this week, like this Friday, which is today. Wait a
Day
minute.
day.
One of my clients, today is her last day at work. And she's been building her business for 3 years. Why working? And that was how it that was her pace and that was her process, and we honor that and we celebrate that, right? For another of
Definitely,
my clients,
definitely.
also this end of this month, end of September, today the recording is right now in September, end of September, she is transitioning out and of her job, and that was a year and a half process. Some other clients just do that for 3 months, they're out. And so I just want to say that there are no rules, and there is no one who should tell you that you have to 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 quit your job like within X amount of time. No, no, give yourself permission to stay at the job as long as you need. I think when you do
Yeah.
that, you actually get to transition out faster. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so give yourself the permissions to stay at the job as long as you need, and see how you can already take action in order to
Yeah.
start growing the thing that you love already on
Mm-hmm.
the side. When it's the
Mm-hmm.
right time, you will know. Like so
Mm-hmm.
many people quitting jobs, one job after the other, and after like 5 years, they still don't know what they want. It's because the quitting come from a place of like kind of lack and frustrations instead of from a clarity, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're so frustrated, and then you're like flip the table and I'm out of here, and then the next thing happen again. So it's not about quitting, it's about doing the work to get clear on what you want to do, what you want to create, and start that early, right? And
Yeah.
know that and actually a lot of time when people come to me and say you have to get me quit my job, like one of my first reaction might be, I can help you, but you have to promise me that you will not quit your job yet. because because whatever frustrations and limitation you are experiencing in your current job does not come from your job. It comes from
Mm-hmm.
us. Right? We
Mm.
are the one who create our reality. So if you are experiencing frustration, for example, your boss is making you work all weekends. Well, it's not your boss' fault.
It's you.
It is you who are not setting boundaries, right? And if you haven't
Oh.
learned to set boundary, the next job, same thing will happen. or even when you start your own business, you'll be like terrible at setting boundaries with yourself and you'll work all the time and you could burn out from your own inner boss. Right? So,
Mm,
so it's about the transformations, right? The transitioning and then
mm,
transformations. And a
mm-hmm.
lot of the time, you will find that your current workplace is the perfect playground for you to notice the kind of limiting beliefs and behaviors and patterns that are keeping you stuck. And when you transition out and you become a different person, your circumstances cannot help but change. Right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the way how you put it is instead of blaming to the environment that you are in, what can
Mm-hmm.
you do to change your reality? Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if you cannot change what the outside look like, then you should take the decision to change what the inside look like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, of course, they're toxic environment, but
Mm-hmm.
how you can set boundaries, how what is the work that you need to do in order
Yeah.
to overcome that.
Yeah.
And also I love when you say it's not about quitting, it's about what kinds of work, yeah, that you're willing to do for
Mm-hmm.
yourself,
Yeah.
in order to make that decision, and not just about quitting the job. What is the decision for the next step, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, very clear. Like, remember when we were working together too? I bet you remember, like, there were sessions when we were like really drilling in, like, what is your values, right? Defining your values, defining your genius. What are you passionate about? Like, what is your
Mhm.
missions? And
Mhm.
when I remember the session when you were like, oh my God, you realize that the reason why you haven't felt like so great at the current job was because there was a misalignment. It wasn't anything wrong
Mhm.
with you. There was just a misalignment of the job
Yeah.
at the time with your
Yeah.
genius and passions and your mission, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Funny enough, I still working for the company, and
Yes.
I have to say the coaching really helps me in a sense. I change the way how I look at it. I change the way
Yeah.
how I approach the situation, and yeah, I have achieved quite a lot since
That's
then with the
amazing.
company, because I accept what it is, what it
Hmm.
has, what resources I have in the company, and from there I just change the way how I execute my job,
Hmm.
and because the that make me creative, and creativity is my values. I
Yes.
cannot do
Yes.
anything with that, and at that moment I feel so drained at work because I cannot use my creativity.
Yes.
And actually, because of that reason, I slowly changing to do another thing in my company, and right now
Mm.
I'm working with other creators around the world where
Okay.
I see creativity every day. So yeah,
Yeah, I
I
love
I
that comment
totally.
because that is a beautiful example of what happened when you actually did the inner work. Then you have the
Yeah.
ability to see, what kind of change can you make. And then a lot of the time, it's very normal that people realize that they don't have to quit their job. They
Yeah,
don't have to
no,
quit their
yeah,
job
that's
now.
true.
Like even when
Yeah.
they're still building their business, like the
Mm-hmm.
guy who I told like this is, and today is her last day. Like she changed herself, and then the whole thing changed with her business. Her work. She was like one of the one to get the biggest bonus at work. Like everybody in the company respect her, and she actually enjoy it. Like she did not quit from a place of pain, but she quit from a place of empowerment. Her work, she enjoy it. She people respect her, and then eventually it's just like it's the time to move because I want to dedicate now full time to my business, which that I have been growing in the 3 years, right?
Mm.
So the beauty of that,
Mm.
yeah, because and you
Yeah.
are a perfect example of it. I
Yeah.
would love to talk
Oh.
about what,
Yeah, I have to frame that you quit from the position of empowerment. I
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
It's so yeah, it's so powerful to hear that. But go
Hmm.
ahead, there are a few more
Yes.
things that you want to
Well, by the
share,
way,
right?
if people are in really toxic, abusive environment, I'm not saying that you cannot quit, like really, because
Yeah,
right,
definitely.
each of us have very unique circumstances. If you're in a very toxic, abusive environment that is really detrimental for your well-being,
Mm-hmm.
actually quitting your job might be the best thing to do,
Mm.
right? So
Yeah,
we are not making
exactly.
a black and white recommendation. So, but the key is that you lean into your soul and knowing what is right for you. So
Mm-hmm.
the second thing that I want to reframe is the idea that if I quit my job, I will start from zero. I will start from scratch. Totally not true. And that's actually that way of thinking holds so many people back from being able to make the transition, because they are like, oh, but I've wasted, then I'll waste like 10 years. I'm working so hard for blah, blah, then I'll be starting from scratch. I throw everything away. That is totally not true, because whatever that you have gained in your work, be it relationship, your network, your skill set, hard skills, your soft skills, all of those things are your asset to build the business. So because of your job, then you will have more asset to build business than other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So often I will see that people, the client who I support, and I specifically I help coaches to launch their business. Their first client would be like actually people in their circle, probably like an ex-colleague, because they have had the relationship, they've built a network, and those are the people who once they announce that, okay, now this is my new offer, this is what I'm working on, my passion. Those people are the one who first want to hire them. So you
Totally
have
agree.
so much asset. Instead of thinking I am starting from scratch, I'm like, no, take the time to take inventory of your asset. Like all of those, how many years you work in business, those are assets. So I work in NGO for fundraising and business development for those are like for 5 years. And I know so much about sales. And because I managed $500,000 portfolio, right? And I was like really selling was my jam. And now and that helped me so much with my current business. Right. I still refer to the lesson that I've learned during those times. So that was still an asset. And now I actually, one of the things I teach people is how to sell better and how to enroll client with authenticity. And that become like one of the things I'm super good at.
Mm.
So similarly to anybody who's listening in the audience, you have that asset, and the key is to sit down and take inventory of that. Like, what are the things that you can take, and that is the superpower for you to really to lay that great foundation for your business success. Mm.
Yeah, to excel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. So nice, Milena. I think oh, maybe I have one more question here. Because I know that we're running out of time. I have to say like uh with the audience that Milena have a very resourceful website where her blog I don't know how many newsletter you send out per month, but I always read it because I find it very helpful.
Yeah.
So could you tell a little bit about that with the audience so they know what you offer as a free resources? So
Yeah.
people just yeah, you know.
Thanks for referring to that, because we work really hard, me and the team, to build a very resourceful website. But I've been
Yeah.
blogging for I can't even count how many years. Yeah, at least 7, 8 years, something. So I've been actively blogging for so long, and now on my blog, it's a library of rich resources. And
Mhm.
it's people can you can go there by going to milenanguyen.com. So
Mhm.
MILENANGUYEN.com. And when you go there, you can also download, I think, a really great place to start for those of you who are wanting to make the transition is that you can download our Discovering Your Soul Purpose guidebook. Because
Mhm.
as we said before, you need the clarity, right? Because otherwise, you will be quitting not from a place of clarity and empowerment, but from a place of pain and frustration, which might make you really stuck. So that Discovering Your Purpose guidebook have an excellent coaching question that you can use to coach yourself, that will help you identify what I call the 4 elements of purpose, like your values, what is your genius, your passions, and what is your mission. And that will help to give you the clarity on what you want to create next, right? So you can start right now without having to quit your job. You can start the
Yeah.
transition like right now, start small.
Yeah.
So that is a great resource. And when you download that, you get to be part of my mailing list. We send out one love letter almost every week.
Yeah.
And yeah, very intimate sharing. And I'm very active on Instagram as well as Facebook. So hashtag
Mm-hmm.
milenanguyen.com. I
Mm-hmm.
share very fun thing that will give you a lot of things to think about. So
Yeah.
that's me.
Definitely connect with Milena Nguyen on her mail list, on her Instagram, on her Facebook, where she shares a lot of wisdom, her learnings, and also the things that I love is her vulnerabilities as well, because it's part of how you grow, and I think it makes you you in the way
Yeah.
how you empower people to truly shine their light. Thank you so
Thank you
much,
for
Melina. It
remembering
was
about.
it was such amazing conversation with you. I feel so happy, and again I learned so much from you, and I always so feel so grateful that our path crossed. And again, thank you so much for everyone who tuning to our podcast today. And don't forget to follow me on my Instagram at amplify your confidence underscore podcast. And if you have any feedback, any questions or suggestion for a new topic, please just drop me a message, and don't forget to rate my podcast as well. Give it a feedback, rate it so more people can find it, and maybe it's gonna have a lot of people as well. Thank you and see you next time. Bye
Yeah.
bye.